Have you ever wondered what happened to the beloved members of the Alaskan Bush People cast? As fans followed the Brown family's journey through the challenges of wilderness living, they also shared in their joys and their heartbreaks. One of the most emotional moments in the show's history came with the tragic loss of a key family member. In this video, we explore who died on Alaskan Bush People, how it affected the family, and the lasting impact it had on both the show and its loyal viewers. First of all, let's start with the most heartbreaking part of the story, the passing of Billy Brown, the patriarch of the Brown family and star of Alaskan Bush People. Billy died at the age of 68, and his death came while the family was actively filming another season of their popular Discovery Channel reality show. For longtime fans, his death was not entirely unexpected. Billy had been struggling with a range of health issues for several years leading up to his passing. His medical complications were occasionally featured on the show, which made his declining health a topic of concern and sympathy among viewers. Despite his health challenges, Billy continued to appear on Alaskan Bush People and remained committed to his family's off-the-grid lifestyle, embodying resilience and determination until the very end. It was Billy's son, Bear Brown, who first broke the devastating news to the public. In a heartfelt statement, Bear expressed the overwhelming grief that the entire Brown family was experiencing. He shared, "We are heartbroken to announce that our beloved patriarch Billy Brown passed away last night. He was our best friend, a wonderful and loving dad, granddad, and husband, and he will be deeply missed." Bear's raw and emotional tribute resonated deeply with fans of the show, many of whom had come to feel like part of the Brown family themselves after following their journey for so many years. Shortly after the family's announcement, the Discovery Channel released its own tribute to Billy. The network had worked closely with the Brown family since the show's debut in 2014, and their statement reflected genuine respect and affection. In their words, Billy was a trailblazer, a lovely man, and an undeniable presence on screen. They praised his authenticity, his pioneering spirit, and the way he inspired millions of viewers to embrace the wilderness and live life on their own terms. The tribute served as a touching reminder of the impact Billy had not just on his family, but on a wide audience who admired his rugged lifestyle and deep connection to nature. If you've been watching Alaskan Bush People over the years, then you're likely aware that Billy Brown battled a number of serious health issues, some of which were openly addressed on the show. One of the most alarming and persistent concerns was his struggle with seizures. Tragically, it was a seizure that ultimately took his life. While the seizure itself was sudden, it was sadly not without warning, as Billy had experienced episodes before and had long been living with underlying medical conditions that only seemed to worsen with time. In addition to seizures, Billy was also dealing with chronic breathing problems and issues related to his kidneys. These health concerns significantly affected his quality of life and limited his ability to fully participate in the rugged lifestyle the family was known for. One memorable example came when the family made the move to their homestead on a mountain in eastern Washington. While the rest of the Brown family was eager to begin their new life in the wilderness, Billy's health posed a serious challenge. The higher elevation meant thinner air, which made it extremely difficult for him to breathe. His respiratory struggles were so severe that he couldn't remain on the mountain for extended periods of time. Instead, he often had to retreat to lower elevations where the air was easier on his lungs. It quickly became clear that living full-time on the mountain was simply not an option for him, and this caused concern and heartbreak among his family, especially as they were trying to build a new chapter together. Bear Brown, one of Billy's sons, spoke out shortly after his father's passing. In an emotional message shared with fans, Bear said, "We are heartbroken to announce that our beloved patriarch, Billy Brown, passed away last night after suffering a seizure. He was our best friend, a wonderful and loving dad, granddad, and husband. He will be dearly missed." His words captured the depth of the family's grief, as well as the love and admiration they all felt for Billy. a man who, despite his many health challenges, remained strong, loving, and devoted to his family until the very end. Following the tragic passing of Billy Brown, his son Bear Brown shared a deeply emotional and heartfelt message with the world, a message that encapsulated the immense love and respect the family felt for their patriarch. "We are heartbroken to announce that our beloved patriarch Billy Brown passed away last night after suffering from a seizure," Bear began. His words reflected the shock and sorrow that gripped the family, as well as the deep sense of loss felt not only within their circle, but also among the many fans who had followed their journey on Alaskan bush people for years. Bear went on to describe his father as much more than the figurehead of their family. He was, in Bear's words, "our best friend, a wonderful and loving dad, granddad, and husband." Billy had always been a source of strength and wisdom, a guiding force who inspired those around him with his unwavering belief in family, self-reliance, and living life on his own terms. Those values weren't just ideals. They were the core of how Billy lived every single day. He chose a life off the grid and off the land, far from the conveniences of modern society. And it wasn't just for show. Billy truly believed in that way of life and instilled those same principles in his children. "He lived his life on his terms," Bear continued, "and taught us to live like that as well." That sentence alone speaks volumes about Billy's influence, not only as a father, but as a teacher and mentor to his family. From the Alaskan wilderness to the remote mountains of Washington, Billy's dream was always to carve out a life that was rooted in independence, nature, and unity. It was a dream that required incredible sacrifice and resilience, but it brought the Brown family together in a powerful way. Even in the face of his declining health, Billy never let go of that dream, and it's clear his family is determined to keep it alive. In closing, Bear expressed a heartfelt promise to carry on his father's legacy. "We plan to honor his legacy going forward and to continue with his dream." He also made a simple, dignified request. "We ask for privacy and prayers during this painful time. God bless everyone." It was a message of grief, gratitude, and hope all in one, a moving tribute to a man whose life touched so many. Fans of Alaskan bush people may remember that Billy Brown's health had been a growing concern in the years leading up to his passing. One particularly difficult chapter came in 2019, when he was hospitalized due to severe respiratory issues. These breathing problems had become increasingly frequent and concerning, ultimately leading doctors to recommend surgery to help stabilize his condition. At the time, Billy's son Bear had spoken out about the seriousness of the situation, admitting that things were taking a turn for the worse. It was a scary period for the family, and those who had been following the show closely could sense that Billy's health was deteriorating more quickly than before. Billy's health struggles became an unfortunate but important part of the show's later seasons. Even though he tried to maintain the strong and rugged persona that had defined him from the beginning, it was clear that he was dealing with immense physical challenges. The family tried their best to support him, and fans admired how close-knit they remained during such a stressful and emotional time. Billy Brown was born on December 3, 1952, in Fort Worth, Texas. Though he started his life in a typical urban setting, he would go on to live one of the most unconventional lives imaginable, turning his back on modern conveniences to embrace an off-the-grid lifestyle in the Alaskan wilderness. That choice would not only define his legacy, but also become the foundation for Alaskan bush people, the reality series that introduced the world to Billy and his uniquely adventurous family. Over the course of 12 seasons, viewers watched the Browns build homes, raise animals, face natural disasters, and navigate the emotional highs and lows of living in remote, untamed landscapes. Sadly, Billy passed away on February 7, 2021, at the age of 68. His death came while the family was still actively filming the show, making the loss feel all the more personal for fans who had followed their journey for years. After his passing, the family made the decision to have him cremated, a quiet and respectful choice that reflected their desire for peace and privacy. Billy's legacy, however, lives on, not just in the episodes of Alaskan Bush People, but in the hearts of those who admired his courage, independence, and devotion to his family. Amy Brown, the resilient matriarch of the Alaskan Bush People family, has endured unimaginable heartache over the past several years. In addition to losing her beloved husband Billy Brown, she has also suffered the loss of two other close family members, heartbreaking tragedies that have tested her strength and spirit time and time again. Despite everything she has faced, Amy continues to push forward, showing remarkable grace, resilience, and even a sense of quiet optimism as she navigates life without her longtime partner by her side. Longtime fans of the show will remember that Amy has had her own share of serious health challenges. In early 2017, after months of unexplained illness and troubling symptoms, Amy was diagnosed with advanced lung cancer. The diagnosis shook the entire family and forced them to make one of the hardest decisions of their lives. They had to leave the bush in Alaska, the place they had long called home, in order to seek proper medical treatment for Amy. The family relocated to California, where she could be closer to specialized care and receive the aggressive treatment she needed to fight the disease. Unfortunately, Billy Brown wasn't the only loved one Amy Brown lost, even as she courageously battled and overcame her own life-threatening health issues. Just months after Billy's passing in early 2021, Amy suffered another devastating blow when her niece, Amber Nicole Branson, tragically passed away. Amber died on September 19, 2021, marking yet another heartbreaking chapter for the Brown family. Amber was the daughter of Amy's brother, Renee Branson, and her death came after a long and painful struggle with mental health challenges. The circumstances surrounding her passing were deeply tragic and left many who heard the story heartbroken. On April 29, 2020, Amber reportedly set herself on fire in what she later described as a faith test. When first responders arrived at the scene, they found her severely injured, with burns covering over 90% of her body. She was still conscious and able to communicate at the time, reportedly telling emergency personnel that the act had been intentional. Amber's words, referring to her ordeal as a test of faith, spoke volumes about the internal battles she had been facing. While details about her mental health struggles remain private, the heartbreaking nature of her death highlights the often invisible pain many people carry. Despite surviving for over a year after the incident, Amber eventually succumbed to her injuries and the long-term complications on September 19, 2021. For Amy Brown, the loss was a devastating follow-up to an already emotionally draining period. She had just said goodbye to her husband Billy in February of the same year, and now she was mourning the loss of a beloved niece under tragic circumstances. To suffer such personal losses in such a short span of time would break many people, but Amy has remained remarkably strong. Though her heart has been shattered more than once, she continues to support her children and grandchildren, and she honors the memories of those she has lost with quiet dignity. Amber Branson's story is one marked by tragedy, grief, and the deep ripples of loss that can touch an entire family. Born on February 8, 1976, Amber was just 44 years old when she passed away. After sustaining injuries that doctors determined were not survivable, her family made the heartbreaking decision to remove her from life support on April 30, 2020. She died the following day, May 1st. The pain of losing someone so young and dear was already a heavy burden for her family to bear, but more sorrow would follow in the weeks and months ahead. Only 2 months later, on July 22, 2020, Amber's father, Larry Renee Branson, who was also Amy's brother, passed away from renal cell carcinoma, a form of kidney cancer. Larry had been born on December 28, 1953, and was 66 years old at the time of his death. His passing so soon after his daughters dealt another crushing blow to the family. Amy, who was already grieving the loss of her beloved niece, now had to face the devastating reality of also losing her brother in the same year. The grief continued into the next year. In 2021, Amy's husband, Billy Brown, also passed away, adding another layer of heartbreak to an already sorrowful period in her life. In the span of just over a year, Amy endured the loss of 3 close family members, each loss compounding the weight of the previous one. Despite this deep loss, Amy still has 2 surviving siblings, her sister Gina Williamson and her brother Les Branson. Their continued presence may offer some comfort and strength as the family carries on, holding the memories of Amber, Larry, Renee, and Billy close to their hearts. These events remain a profound chapter in Amy's life, shaped by both unimaginable sorrow and the enduring bonds of family. Another heartbreaking loss tied to the Alaskan Bush people and their extended family involves Bear Brown and his wife, Raven Brown. Their relationship has been one of the most publicly followed among the Brown siblings, largely due to its emotionally charged ups and downs, many of which were captured on the show itself. Raven first entered the Brown family's orbit during a family wedding, where she was assisting her mother, a professional photographer, with capturing the event. That chance meeting with Bear sparked a whirlwind romance that quickly became a focal point for fans of the show. Their courtship was at times sweet and passionate, but it was also marked by volatility, with numerous breakups and reconciliations that played out both on-screen and off. Despite the ups and downs, Bear and Raven announced their engagement in 2019, sparking hope among fans that the couple had found stability. But their path forward remained complicated. The engagement was called off shortly thereafter, and their relationship appeared to be over for a time. However, they reunited once more and shared that they were expecting a child together. While this news brought a wave of joy and support from fans, tragedy soon struck. Sadly, the couple revealed that they had lost the baby. The pain of such a loss is hard to put into words. Bear, who has always worn his heart on his sleeve, expressed his grief publicly, sharing with fans how deeply the miscarriage had affected him and Raven. For a couple who had already been through so much emotionally, the heartbreak of losing their baby added another devastating chapter to their story. Bear Brown and Raven Brown's relationship has been anything but conventional, and their journey together has been marked by emotional highs, deep lows, and a fair share of heartache. One of the most defining moments came when Raven gave birth to their son, River Anthony Brown, on March 9, 2020. At the time, however, Bear and Raven were no longer together. They were estranged during the pregnancy and the birth, which made the situation all the more difficult, especially since Bear was not present when his son was born. The time surrounding River's birth was filled with drama, both public and private. There were tensions between the couple that spilled into social media and the public eye, drawing speculation and concern from fans. Bear expressed deep regret about not being there for River's arrival and made it clear that he wanted to be involved in his son's life. Eventually, Bear and Raven did reconcile, determined to work through their past struggles and build a future together as a family. But that reconciliation was short-lived. From April to August 2021, the couple split once again, marking yet another chapter in their rocky relationship. This particular separation was especially hard on both of them, and Raven later spoke out about the emotional toll it took. During this time, they suffered a miscarriage, a devastating loss that shook them to their core. Raven openly shared that she believed the stress and emotional turmoil of their 2021 breakup contributed to the miscarriage. It was an incredibly painful experience for both of them, made worse by the already fragile state of their relationship. After the heartbreak of their miscarriage in 2021, Bear and Raven Brown finally had some joyful news to share. On May 28, 2022, Raven announced that she was pregnant again, this time with what is often lovingly called a rainbow baby, a term used to describe a child born after the loss of a previous pregnancy. For Bear and Raven, who had been through so much emotional pain and turbulence, this new pregnancy brought renewed hope and the promise of healing. The couple was overjoyed to share the news with their followers and fans. After the deep sorrow of losing a baby, this new life symbolized resilience and the chance to begin again. Both Bear and Raven spoke openly about how much this pregnancy meant to them, especially following the heartbreak of the year before. It was a moment of light after a very dark period. Their rainbow baby arrived safely and healthy in February 2023, a moment of celebration not only for Bear and Raven, but for their growing family as a whole. The birth brought immense happiness to them, a true turning point after all the emotional challenges they'd weathered together. Their older son, River, who had already become the heart of their little family, was excited to take on the role of big brother. According to updates shared by the couple, River adjusted well to his new role and was thrilled to have a sibling to bond with. Even with the joy surrounding the arrival of their second child, the family has still been navigating the grief that came with losing Billy Brown, Bear's father, and the patriarch of the Alaskan Bush people family. His death in 2021 left a huge void in the lives of everyone who loved him, and Bear has spoken more than once about the emotional toll it took. Despite this ongoing grief, the birth of their rainbow baby brought a measure of healing and hope. Now, Bear and Raven are focused on creating a stable and loving home for their children. Their journey has been filled with trials, but also with love, resilience, and the will to keep moving forward, even in the face of loss. If you watched the most recent season of Alaskan Bush People, one thing was abundantly clear. Billy Brown's presence still looms large over the entire family. Though he passed away in 2021, his influence, his memory, and the legacy he built remain central to the show and to the lives of those he left behind. In nearly every episode, Billy was spoken about with reverence, sorrow, and a deep sense of longing. His absence was felt in the quiet moments, the family discussions, and the decisions each member made about their future. In the aftermath of his death, the Brown family experienced a noticeable shift. Grief doesn't affect everyone the same way, and for the Browns, that meant a bit of splintering. Some of the children chose to return to Alaska, seeking the roots and wilderness lifestyle their father had always championed. Others stayed behind, trying to find their own paths while still honoring the life Billy had envisioned for them. There's even been talk of some of the family making a permanent move back to Alaska, reclaiming the land and lifestyle that had defined them for so many years. Billy Brown was undeniably the heart and soul of Alaskan Bush people. His dreams of building a life off the grid and raising his family in the wild shaped the entire show. So, when he passed, it wasn't just the loss of a beloved father, it was the loss of a guiding star. Watching the family continue on without him has been emotional for fans who grew attached to their journey over the years. But as viewers have come to realize, Billy's death wasn't the only loss connected to the Alaskan Bush people family. Over time, several other tragedies have emerged: Amber Branson, Raven and Bear's miscarriage, and the death of Amy's brother, Larry Renee Branson. Each of these losses has added layers of sorrow and complexity to the narrative, showing that behind the camera and beyond the wilderness, these are real people enduring very real heartache. Together, these moments have reshaped the show, turning it from a series about survival in the wild into something deeper. A portrait of a family enduring the storms of life with as much courage as they face nature itself. What do you think about the losses of the Alaskan Bush people? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.